Hello dear movers, this is 𝗹𝗲, and today we're going to step away from the usual tutorials to see in full details a sequence I taught last week in my classes in Dublin. So in this video, which will be a bit longer than usual, I will talk you through the different elements of the sequence and we will see together the transitions between the different movements. So first thing first, let's start with the first movement, the bouche. This has different names according to which teacher you go, but in my vocabulary, it is called the bouche. To start lying down on our back and bring both hands to a 45-degree angle from our hips. We're going to bend both legs and hook one leg around the other. We're going to kick an invisible ball with this foot to bring the hips over the arm we left on the side of the hip. In this initial position, you want to have one knee very close to the floor and one knee facing the ceiling. The foot of the knee facing the ceiling is going to be your support foot. You're going to push against it to be able to raise your hip as you step with the other leg. Now, let's spice things up a bit. We're going to use the other hand and place the elbow of that arm facing the ceiling. As we kick into the bouche, we're going to look through the space we're creating with that arm and the elbow facing the ceiling. I like to refer to this space as a window through which we should look after we kicked this invisible ball I was mentioning before. I would like you to note as well that the second foot slides on the floor. We don't step with it, we try to keep it sliding on the floor at all time. Once you perform the movement, roll on your back and cross the legs again to be able to perform another bouche straight after. If you make sure to rotate 90 degrees every time you turn, you should be able to perform a full circle. We're going to now perform a spin on both our shoulder and our hip from a fetal position. Try to pull hard with your hand, the upper hand, the one that's not on the floor, and tuck your knees close to your nose to generate some momentum. We are aiming at turning 180 degrees, and as you will see, it is not as easy as it looks. Once you twisted a full 180 degrees, extend both arms overhead, sliding the hands on the floor, and extend both legs as well in the form of a starfish position. This should allow you to create a loop and keep traveling on the floor using the same movement pattern. Now, building up on this, we're going to lift the pelvis by pushing on both feet after the rotation and swing both arms overhead. To make this happen, you really want to be pushing on both feet, anchoring them on the floor, and shooting both knees to the ceiling to raise the pelvis high. As you get better at this, really try to recycle the momentum from the spin into this movement called the helicopter. Right. For the purpose of what follows, we're going to keep swinging that first hand until it goes under the pelvis and then roll on our belly. Try to almost touch the opposite heel with that hand and then put the knee down to gently find your way to the floor. Right, let's see now how we can use what we've built on so far to make our way up. Using that knee that you just placed on the floor, with this hand reaching for the opposite heel, let's kick again an invisible ball with the other leg to pivot on that knee and come back up. As you're finishing your helicopter, place that knee close enough to your body to be able to transfer the weight to it and really pivot from it. Alright, so we already have a few elements to be playing with. Let's start with the bouche that we've seen at the very beginning. As you find yourself on your side, do not roll on your belly and use the hand from the window I was mentioning to pull yourself in that 180-degree rotation I was mentioning. Again, remember, you're using the momentum from the spin to really go in a high helicopter, drop the knee, and from there pivot on that knee to come back up gracefully. And we will finish this sequence with a movement called the knee roll or the knee switch. From a fisherman squat, bring the knee that's facing the ceiling down parallel to the other knee so that you end up in some form of a quadrupedal position. Bring both hands down just to alleviate the stress from the knees and sit again on the heel to finish in a fisherman squat but the opposite side. As you're rolling on your knees, keep the feet off the floor to limit the amount of friction. And as you get more and more comfortable with this motion, try to remove the hands and find the same efficiency as you roll on your knees. Let's try now to make this movement a bit sexier. As you bring both knees together, look behind you and keep looking at that wall until the rest of your body stops moving. We're pretty much dissociating the head from the trunk. Once you find yourself sitting in a fisherman squat again, you can bring the head back. This can be more or less aggressive depending on the style you want to be using. You can also play with a small tilt in the head to see how this affects your momentum. Time to bring everything together. Now, we've seen the different transition before between one move and the other, but we haven't seen just yet what happens before the knee switch. So, once you find yourself up from the helicopter with your knee down, I want you to bend the extended leg to be able to propel yourself the other way from a fisherman squat to the other. And that's pretty much it. So remember, what's key in that sequence is our capacity to recycle the momentum from one movement to the other and to transfer the weight efficiently from one side to the other. So have fun, put your own signature movements in the mix, and please send me the results. I'm sure you can make this whole sequence way better.